Hey everyone, I've got another video for Vanguard tonight, and this is going to be on the second Destined one, the Destined one of Exceedance and Impauldio. This is the Brantgate deck for the Destined one side. So yeah, let's get into it. Okay, first up for the ride line, and for Impauldio, you have to play the specific ride line, as there are effects that activate when you use each specific one in order. So for the starter, we have this guy, Valstarther. It's got the same ordinary effect all starters have, but as this one is specific for Impauldio, and because of the effects on some of the other cards in the ride line, you kind of have to play this guy. The grade 1, which is arguably the most important one, Impauldio. When this unit is placed by riding from a grade 0 card, reveal a grade 3 card with Impauldio and its card name from the ride deck, and put a system code Exceed token into your order zone. So let's go over to that card real quick. This is system code Exceed. It is a token order card. So because it is a token, it exists outside the deck. So this represents system code Exceed, and cannot be placed in your deck. Order zone, you cannot raid grade 3 or greater cards without Impauldio and their card names. And you have auto-mod gauges. Order zone, when a card is put into your damage zone during your opponent's turn, choose a card from your drop zone, put it face up as your auto-mod gauge. If you have 3 or less auto-mod gauges, this damage check reveals cards other than trigger units. Choose one of your Vanguards and it gets an extra 5,000 power until the end of turn. If you have 4 more auto-mod gauges, choose one of your Vanguards and it gets 5,000 power until the end of turn. Okay. Okay, so if you have 3 or less, it just gets 5k, but if you have 4 more, it gets 10k instead, I believe. Oh, if it's not a trigger unit, if it's 3 or less, you get the extra 5k. However, when you reach 4 more auto-mod gauges, it doesn't matter if it's a trigger or not, you get the 5k. There we go. Okay, okay, next up should be the grade 2. This is Destined. When this unit is rolled upon by a grade 3 card with Impauldio and its card name, put the top card of your deck face up into the auto-mod gauge. Choose a card from your auto-mod gauge and you can put it into your hand. This is a great way to get cards back that you might have put into your auto-mod gauge earlier on that you want to have in your hand, obviously. That's it for the grade 2, and now we have Impauldio. Its first effect can only be used once per turn. Blast 1, choose a card from your drop, put it face up as your auto-mod gauge. Look at the top 5 cards of your deck, choose up to 1 grade 3 or less card from one of them, call it to a rearguard circle, and shuffle the deck, and then this unit gets all of your Vanguards, all of your front row units get an extra 5,000 power for every 2 of your auto-mod gauges until the end of turn. And then his divine skill, if your opponent's Vanguard is a grade 3 or greater, and if you have 4 more auto-mod gauges, counterblast 1, discard a card from your hand, and this unit gets critical +1 and drive +2 until the end of turn. Very, very strong. Of course, now we've got 3 more copies of Impauldio in the main. The main rear guard for Impauldio, this is Sky Leap Conversion Vindstar. During your turn, if you have 2 or more automod gauges, this unit gets an extra 5,000 power, and if you have 8 or more, this unit's drive checks cannot be reduced by card effects. Now, yes, this rearguard can perform drive checks, however, that is only if you achieve certain conditions. When this unit attacks, if you have 4 or more automod gauges and no drive checks were performed for the battle, your rearguard's attacked this turn, counterblast 1. Till the end of that battle, this unit can perform drive checks and gets drive -1. At the end of that battle, you bind this unit. However, of course, because of the first effect, if you have 8 or more automated gauges, the drive checks will not be reduced, and you can do 2 drive checks. And this, in turn, with Impauldio's Divine skill, that means for 1 turn in a game, you can perform 6 drive checks, which is incredible, especially in Standard. So anyway, 4 copies of this guy. This is definitely your best rearguard in the entire deck. We have another grade 3 here. This one's kind of a tech N. I've seen a few Impauldio lists use it. This is Aurora Battle Princess Taser Large. Front rearguard circle. When your opponent's rearguard is placed other than from hand, you can rest that unit. Now this here is mostly because there are some decks that place units onto the field other than from hand, especially in this format. So this card kind of comes into play sometimes. A lot of the other times you are just going to be using it to discard stuff. And again, this is only an iffy card to use, but some lists use it, some don't. And especially with the set 5 stuff coming out, Impauldio got a lot more stuff. Impauldio, in fact, has the least amount of support cards out of the Destined ones. So a lot of his cards end up having to be generic Brandgate stuff, which there isn't a lot of in Brandgate, unfortunately. So you kind of have to think things up as you go along. The main grade 2 of the deck is Nebula Invoke Dragon. When this unit attacks, you can Soul Blast 1. This unit gets an extra 5,000 power until the end of that battle. If you have 5 more automatic gauges, this unit gets an extra 15,000 power instead of the 5k. And then its Guardian Circle effect. If you have 4 more automatic gauges, this card gets an extra 15,000 shield. Yeah. So yeah, this is a 20k shield grade 2, which is incredible. And a very strong grade 2 at that. Next up, we have one of the cyclers for Brandgate. This is Sickle Blade of Inquest Habitable Zone. When this card is discarded from hand during your ride phase, you can Soul Blast 1, put this card on the bottom of the deck, and then draw a card. So it's again a cycle card. When this unit is placed on the rearguard, if you Persona Road this turn, Counterblast 1, search your deck for up to 1 set order, reveal it and put it into your hand, and then shuffle your deck. Until the end of turn, you may play up to a total of 2 orders. Play the next set order without paying its cost. Now, you're not actually going to use that rearguard effect. You're mainly going to be using this as a cycle card, and a card for discarding effects. Mainly. We have a order card here, Howling Moonlit Night. This is mainly here for draw power and to cycle cards out of the soul, so you have cards in the drop zone in the early game to put into the automod gauge. You play this order with a Soul Blast 1. When this unit is put into when this card is put into the order zone, you then draw a card. And the rest of the stuff with Dark Knight and Abyssal Dark Knight don't matter, as those effects are immediately turned off by having the automod gauge in play. So yeah, this is just a way to get stuff out of your soul and to draw a few extra cards. Of course, one of the best staples Brandgate has is Destruction Mutant Bulba Mine. At the end of the battle, this unit boosted. If your order zone has a set order, put this unit into the soul and you countercharge 1. Very nice, very simple card, and that is why it is a Brandgate staple. Gather 2/2. This is a very strong booster for Impauldio. During your turn, if you have 4 or more automod gauges, this unit gets an extra 10,000 power. Very simple. In fact, this entire deck is pretty simple in my opinion. Spacewalk Dragon as the other grade 1. At the end of the battle, this unit boosted. If you have 2 or more automod gauges, put this unit into your soul, choose one of your opponent's grade 1 or less rear guards, and retire it. Again, a pretty simple card. And of course, 4 PGs. 4 non-effect crits. 3 more non-effect crits. You can also use the effect ones if you want. 4 effect fronts. 4 heals. And the over trigger for Brandgate. And that is it for Impauldio. I hope you enjoyed this video. Sorry it is a bit quiet. It's late at night for me, so probably in the morning I will put this video out. And I still hope you enjoyed it despite how quiet it is.